We are in the middle of Daf Dalid with base. Massive, it's about 6 lines of the wide lines. We had here an argument between Rabbi Yochanan and Yeshua ben Levi about the idea of saying Shema next to Geula. Sorry, Shema Esrei next to Geula. That the Amida prayer, which is the main, when you say prayer, that's the main part of prayer, Shema Esrei, should be done next to Shema, which talks about going out of Mitzrayim, the third section of Shema. So, do you do that in the morning and at night, or only in the morning? So now the Gemara says, Masiv, we could argue and dispute Rabbi Yechanan's opinion that it has to be at night as well. Mar Brei de Ravina asked this question. Well, Erev, in the evening, at night, when you say Shema, we don't just say the Shema itself, but we say 2 blessings before Shema and 2 blessings after Shema. And if you're going to tell me that Boy Lismich, you have to say Geula next to Tefillah, which means the Shema has to go right next to Shemona Esrei. You're not saying davening next to Shema because you have Ashkivenu in between. That interrupts the right? So you don't have it. Amri, they said, Kiva det kinu rabbanon ashkivenu, because Chazal, our sages, I missed that, what? What did it say? Very good. Oh, but you missed the line. Without a book, it's amazing. We're one of them. Okay, but there's a Kaddish anyway. Anyway, fine. So the answer is because Chazal, they established to say Ashkivenu, ki Geula Richta Damya. It's like one long Geula. It's a continuation. It's not just an interruption. It was established by our sages to say that prayer, that blessing. So it becomes like a Geula Richta. Because if you're not going to say that there's this concept that you could extend the section that's talking about Geula, going out of Mitzrayim, extend that into the next blessing, and then you have it next to Shemona Esrei, Shachris Hechimatzi Samech. By Shachris, you have the same issue. Why? Before we say Shemona Esrei, we don't just start right away, blessed are you Hashem. We say a small prayer that Hashem, open my lips, and I should say, my mouth will recite your praise. That's not Geula. That's a introduction to davening. And at the end, we know you say point is the beginning. You say something before, after Shema. Elohasam. But we give the same answer because over there, our sages said you have to say Hashem Tiftach. So therefore, it's considered like one long prayer. And it's like part of Shemona Esrei, and you're still doing the Geula, which is the last section of Shema. It talks about going out of Mitzrayim. It's still next to Shemona Esrei, which is the Amida prayer, and you're fine. Here also, with this, the Gemara concludes, because our sages have enacted to say Ashkivenu, it doesn't interrupt, and it's like one long Geula. It's a continuation. Now we have another concept about davening. Anyone that says Tilo David, which is Ashrei, the Ashrei prayer, if you say it 3 times every day, which we do because we say it once by Shachris in the morning, a second time towards the end of Shachris after Tachnun, and then again by Mincha. So if you say this psalm 3 times a day, it's Psalm 145. You are assured, promised, that you'll merit the world to come. My time. Well, why is it so special? Why do we say it every day? 3 times. If you're going to tell me, if you'll tell me, because if you look at Ashrei, it starts B'chol Yom Avarcheka, and then Gadol Hashem, and it goes according to the Aleph base. So it's a very special prayer. You're reciting praise to Hashem in the format. Every verse starts with another letter of the alphabet. But if that's the reason, then Nema Ashay Smimei Darach. Let's say this year's the Rebbe's Kapitel, Psalm 119, which has the Asya B'tamne Apin. It has 8 times. There's 8 verses on each letter, and then it goes to the next one. 8 verses on each letter. It's okay. It's like a real video. It has the background music and so then maybe the reason that we say 3 times a day Ashrei, Psalm 145, is not because it goes according to the alphabet, Aleph Beis, but because it has Pesach Es Yadecha. Because if it's according to Aleph Beis, you have another one that you could use, which is even better. If that's the case, So I want to give you 2 answers. According to Chassidus, Pesach Es Yadecha Masbir L'Chol Chai Ratzon. The Rebbe says Ratzon means I'm asking Hashem to give me the desire to serve you. Obviously, literal sense, you're asking for money, for food, but it's give me the desire to serve Hashem. That's number 1. Number 2, it's a special tefillah because a person connects with it. So the Gemara at this stage is saying, let's say Halal Hagadol. If you say the whole Halal, it says similar thing. You give a bread to every flesh. In other words, every creation has food. So probably because you have it twice in Ashrei. Sorry, it has both things. It has Aleph Beis and it has it has both things. It has Aleph Beis and it has that. Now I have another question. We're talking about Ashrei, Psalm 145, having 1 verse with each letter of the Aleph Beis in order. But if you look, we're missing 1 letter. The letter Nun is not an Ashrei. So Rabbi Yechanan says, why is there no Nun in Ashrei? A verse that starts with Nun. Because you have over there the downfall of the enemies of the Jewish people. Now, this is a clean way of saying it, the enemies of the Jews. But really, it's talking about the Yidden themselves, certain elements of the Jewish people that have a downfall. We don't want to speak negatively about it. So we skip that concept. We don't say it in that tefillah. David HaMelech took out the whole idea of. He says that Semech Hashem he's going to explain in a second what's so bad about it, because in that there's many psukim that Yidden had a downfall. But this one's talking about where they didn't get back up. And because of that, he doesn't want to say it at all. And he says Semech, the next pasuk is Semech Hashem Chol HaNeflim, which is lifting up. Why couldn't we find a different nun? I don't know. Huh? I think it's because nun represents Neifel. Okay, I don't know. We have to look. Nafel is Yisrael, but Marav Matatzi in the West, and it's so they Mataretz Lahachi. Nafel Leisesif Linpol Eid Kum Sulas Yisrael. They took this pasuk and explained it in a positive twist. You fell, you're not going to fall again. Get up, Sulas Yisrael. The point is to try to find a positive angle even on a verse which is speaking negative about the Yidden. Nonetheless, David, because the next pasuk after where the nun would go, right? Mem nun samach. There's no nun, but the samach is speaking about Hashem is holding or is support for those that fall. So technically, the nun belongs there, and the nun is silent. We don't mention it, but we're referring to it. But the next pasuk, when we say Hashem supports us. Do Rashi, the Isbei Tarti. Sorry, Sholish Tfilis, 3 times representing the 3 davenings, Shachas, morning, afternoon, and evening. The Isbei Tarti, the Isbei Aleph, Aleph Beis, V'yesh Sheva Chanas Maz and the Cholchai. So you have Aleph Beis, number 1, which is a plus, and you have praising of Hashem that He sustains everyone. Even though he skipped the nun because he didn't want to talk about the falling, which represents in this nun, but he didn't want to allude to that. He did want to allude and hint to the support that happens after the one person that falls, which we mentioned before. The Maimer and Torah, the Alter brings over there the Semech Neiflim is those that are falling from their service of Hashem and they mess up. Hashem is Semech. He helps them, supports them, helps them get back up. Okay. Omer Rabbi Elazar bar Avino, Rabbi Elazar the son of Avina said, Godel mashnamar b'mechol yesrim mashnamar b'Gavriel. We're talking about angels, Mechol and Gavriel. So this that the verses that are talking about Mechol are bigger than the ones, or greater than the ones that are speaking about Gavriel. If I don't know which angel is maybe has an advantage or who's greater, Mechol is more than Gavriel. Mechol ksiv vayoif Eli echad min asrafim. Flew to me one of the srafim, which is a high level of an angel, or spiritual being. So one place you're saying srafim are flying, the other one says ish. My mashma. So the Gemara said 1 second. How did you decide that this echad means mechol? Maybe it doesn't say his name. My mashma echad mechalu. But Rabbi Yechanan, we have a proof that this pasuk, when it says echad, is referring to the angel Mechol, because asya echad. Ksiv hacha, it says over here, echad min asrafim. Ksiv hasam, and it says in another verse, v'hine Mechol echad min asrafim harishein b'ala zreini. There's another place when we're referring to Malach Mechol, we say echad, and one of the ways of learning, understanding the context in Tanakh, specifically in prophets, is you compare one word that exists in one place and you could apply it a similar expression in a different place. So it says echad with mechol. In this case, it's obviously some kind of angel because we're talking about srafim. So we could say that it is mechol as well. Tana mechol ba'achas gavil b'shtayim el yo ba'arba u'malachon b'shmeina. We learned that when different malachim go on missions, they go to take care of certain things. Hashem sends them to do something. So Mechol does it in one shot. He goes, he arrives, he gets it done. Gavriel b'shtayim, it means he has a stop along the way. Eliyahu, when Elijah the prophet, there's 3 stops before he gets to the destination, which is number 4. So it happens in 4. The angel of death is 8. But if God forbid there's a plague, then it's with 1. It doesn't have that delay. Huh? Plague. Yeah, I mean it's the plague is ending. Yeah, same thing really. If there's an ability to have a plague that's not deadly, maybe I guess. Okay, let's go weiter. Oh, Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Rabbi Shua ben Levi said, even though a person said Shema in Shul, because by Ma'ariv you say Shema, there's still a concept, a mitzvah, you should read the Shema at your bed. Meaning right before you go to sleep. It doesn't mean on the bed, literally. Before you go to sleep, you say Shema. Rabbi Yesi said, what's this pasuk? What's the proof that you have to say Shema again? Because it says, is what he's going to explain. Rigzu means tease or keep him on edge, and you won't sin. It's representing as speak about Hashem in your hearts. Al mishkavchem before you go to sleep. V'dei muselo, and we'll be explaining what each one of these words mean in a moment. Omer Reb Nachman said, if his person is a Talmud Chacham, which this is a proof that you have to say Shema, because if you're a Talmud Chacham, then you don't have to. Okay. Now, to explain, the reason why a person has to say Shema before he goes to sleep is because we don't want sin to happen. So you should focus and you should go to sleep with words of Torah, with saying Shema, with thinking about Hashem. It also has to do with chasing away demons, as the Gemara will later tell us. But if a Talmud Chacham is learning Torah anyways, it's all he's doing. It's not like he left Shul when he finished Ma'ariv and now he's doing whatever else, and we're concerned where he's going to end up, what he's going to end up doing. He's saying he's learning the whole time. He's learning at home. He's learning before he goes to sleep. He technically didn't say Shema. He said something else. Abaye says even Talmud Chacham has to say at least one pasuk of Rachamim where he asks Hashem for protection. For example, we say it in the nusach, the order of the Shema before we go to sleep. It's there. It's the verse that says that in your hand, Hashem, I'm depositing my spirit because my neshama is going to Hashem. You redeemed me, the true Hashem. Okay. Before we explain this more, let's go back and do a drop of Rashi's. Actually, we have more Rashi's before that. In other words, one trip. It didn't rest in between. Two flying is two trips. In other words, the difference between which angel goes on one trip or two trips and so on. Say what it's written on your heart. When you go to sleep, and afterwards you're quiet because you're sleeping. So you see from the way the pasuk is worded that you have the idea of saying Shema, saying Shema, speaking about Hashem, and going to the bed, and then sleeping, being quiet. And according to Reb Nachman, if he's Talmud Chacham, he's accustomed to learning the whole time. He's always reviewing what he learned. This is enough for him. Doesn't have to say Shema separately. But Abaye says you should still say at least one pasuk before you go to sleep. Okay. A few minutes, let's just cover a few more lines. Omer of Levi bar Chama or Shimon ben Lakish. The Levi bar Chama said in the name of Shimon ben Lakish, Lo'ilam yargish adam yitzur teva al yitzur hara, shenemar rigzu al techto. A person should always tease or instigate or basically get his yitzur tov riled up to be on guard from the yitzur hara. In other words, tell him, be careful, the evil inclination is going to come, the animal soul is going to try to get me. A person should always do that. Yeah. If he won, mutav, it's great. And if not, yasak b'teira. So if that itself helps to say, listen, there's a battle here. There's a battle here. I'm going to win this. If that works, it's fine. But if it's not working, then schlep your yitzhara and go learn Torah. It'll help you. Shenemar imu vavchem. Say it in your hearts. Learn Torah. Im nitzchay, if that helped, mutav is good. Im la vika krishma. Then if that doesn't work, then say Shema. Shenemar al mishkavchem. Not he should mention to him the day of Musela. That's how he learns from this pasuk. Imru vavchem al mishkavchem. Rigzu al dachto. Imru vavchem al mishkavchem. The number one is be margiz, tease, instigate over the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination. If that doesn't work, then Imul Vavchem learn Torah. If that doesn't work, then Amashkavchem say Shema. If that doesn't work, then think about the ultimate judgment. What this pasuk that says, I gave you the tablets made out of stone, and the Torah and the mitzvah which I wrote to teach them. What's happening? It's a very long pasuk. What does it represent? So luchais elu aseres hadibres. The luchais means Hashem gave Moshe the 10 Commandments. The luchais means Hashem gave Moshe the 10 Commandments. Yeah, the tablets themselves. Torah zen mikra. Torah is the psukim. The mitzvah is Mishnah. Asher kasavti is Arnavim and Ksuvim, it's prophets and scriptures. Leireisam is Gemara. This teaches you that everything was given to Moshe. A person shouldn't say, Hashem gave Moshe the luchais. But even more than that, anything that a Talmud will ever, sharp Talmud, some of that, each stage, we know that even more than that, anything that a Talmud will ever, sharp Talmud, someone that's very studious and figure something out, if it's accurate, that was also given to Moshe Rabbeinu at Har Sinai. But Mishnah, which we didn't technically know about yet, and Gemara as well, was given to Moshe Rabbeinu at Har Sinai.